Hello and welcome to another video on my YouTube channel. So we are continuing our C# basic series of videos, and as always, please go ahead and follow me on GitHub, visit my website, and of course, if you have any questions, you can email me as well. So today we are going to talk about iteration. Now, an iteration is another basic concept where you are essentially cycling through a specific statement to repeat a single statement or a collection of statement or a collection of function calls and so on. And this is something you do in and out in software development all the time, because ultimately any kind of software you can think about, you are always dealing with rows and rows of data, and that's really what any software really is. Like for example, if you're about to, like right now, I have all these files, PowerPoints of all the videos I'm making. This is a list of PowerPoint presentation documents. So again, it's a list. So if I have photos, then it's a list of photos. If I have a software that manages students at a university, then again, that is a list of students at a university. So we are constantly iterating through collection of data, which is why iteration is important. I mean, everything in the program is important, but this is something you do almost every day. So now in this video, I want to go and look at this one specific option called for each. Now there is something called a for loop. We'll talk about that, I believe, in the next. It comes up, it's there in the list. I can see it's there in the list. So yeah, this one I'm going to talk about how to use for each. So here we'll try out for each with a string, because strings are essentially a collection of characters. So again, that's an array, and of course we'll use an integer array as well and kind of loop through it. So let's go ahead and give it a try. As always, the example code is in my GitHub, and I have gone ahead and put the link for you. So let's go ahead and do this. Console app as always. Next. I have a folder in desktop called to delete. There you go. That's a temporary folder, and this one is going to be iterate, iteration, looping, .NET 8. Okay. It's creating. Okay then, so I'm trying to use a for each, but to do that I need both a string and a integer array. So let's go ahead and create a string. Now before I do that, let me just get my example code here. Yeah, I'll put the link in the description. So yeah, there you go, that's the one. Let me just put my example code here. I don't want to go off script too much. Okay, I want to make sure my video complements the example code, so I keep looking at it all the time. So all right then, so let's go ahead and create ourselves a string. All right, okay, so let's do, so in fact I think you can do a string directly as well. It's not in my example, but I'm going to give it a try anyway. So I'm going to say string. I'm going to call this example string is equal to I am a Batman. Okay, right, I like Batman, he's always saying I'm Batman, so let's do that. So I'm going to use for each. So I'm going to say for each var x in example string, and I want to say console.writeLine x. Now if this is correct, I believe it is correct, I should get a like a output with each character in a separate line. So let's do that. There you go. See, even space is a character, and everything has a value in programming. So I am Batman. So there you go. That's now what if it was a string array? So let's do that as well. So let's go ahead and say something like string array. And yeah, I'm going to say example string array is equal to, and I want in my example I have 3 names, so I'm going to say new string, and here I'm going to say 3. Let's go with the example code I have. So now I want to add some values first. Now there are many ways of doing it, so this is the easiest way. So I'm going to take the AI's help. So here I'm going to say Batman, okay, and then I am going to say Superman. And another hero I like a lot is Phantom. I don't know if you heard of the Phantom. Let me just bring up, hold on. Yeah, this is the guy. I don't know how many people know him. The Phantom. We in India especially, there was even a movie the Phantom a long time ago. It was even a movie. It was okay. I've seen the movie. It's okay. And in India, he is very famous. Like when I was young, we actually, we don't have a comic books. Not a big comic book culture in India. But when we were young, there was actually a big publishing company which would publish comics. Like you could actually go to a shop and buy a weekly comic. So. But we don't have comic books anymore. The company died out in the mid 90s because people stopped buying it. But I remember we used to have stacks and stacks of Phantom comics and Mandrake comics, and but for me, Phantom was a cool guy. But of course, like yeah, it's not. Is it? These. I mean, we don't get that in India anymore, unfortunately. Anyway, so I got distracted there for a bit. So yeah, let's go back here. So yeah, what was I doing? I got nostalgic. Let's do that. So it is the Phantom. It's not Phantom. It's the Phantom. So. Okay, all right. So I got 3 superheroes here. Maybe I should just call, instead of saying example string array, I should just call this one superhero string array. That makes more sense, isn't it? I think I mentioned, or I'll mention in the upcoming video, it's very important to have meaningful names. So might as well do that, right? Okay, so there we go. We have 3 arrays. Now let's go to loop through them using for each and show it on the screen. So I am going to say for each var x in this one, and I am going to say console dot write line. Okay, and there we go. Let's go ahead and put the curly braces, and let's go ahead and try to run this and see what happens. There it is, Batman, Superman, the Phantom. So that works with for each as well. Let's try a integer array before we wrap up this specific example video. So once again, I want to go ahead, and now you'll also see the usage of arrays. We'll be using lists in an upcoming video. But arrays are cool in some scenarios, but most of the time in C# we work with enumerables and lists, arrays on specific scenarios, but otherwise you mostly end up working with collections and enumerables and iList interface and stuff like that. But anyway, it's good to know, depending on the context, you might end up using a specific this one. So let's create an integer array just like that, int. Okay, and here I'm going to say just a random array of numbers. Again, I'm trying to give like meaningful this one. So here I'm going to say int 0, let's say 69. There you go. Then I'm going to say, oh, I can't do it like that. I just realized, oh, it doesn't work that way. I can't say int 0 equals that. It doesn't work that way. Hold on. I think oh, sorry, the name I forgot. Right, I'm just thinking, why is that giving an error? So there we go. Let's put 69 there, and then here I'm going to say equals 7, from James Bond. And then here we are going to put the today's year, which is 2024. There we go, 3 random numbers. Not random, when each of them has a reason behind it. Is it really random when you already have a reason for that number? So I guess we are not going for pure randomness anyway. So each number has a specific meaning and context. So it's not a complete random number, but it is random for practical purposes. So let's go ahead and try to display that using for each. Okay, there we go, for x. And you can see here that I am using var in all these places. Yes. So that's again a convenience thing, that one of those cool features in C#, so, which automatically converts, declares the variable. Now, if you want to, instead of var, you can of course go and say int, and the code will be just fine. But I have used var, so both are fine. So here again, I'm going to say console.writeLine, and I want to say x. So let's see if we'll get the 3. So we are getting the Batman thing, we are getting the superhero, and the number 69, 7, and 2024. So there you go. That is how you go ahead and use the iteration, especially using for each, and that's what this video is about. Thank you.